Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. Boozer here. Today's video, I want to talk about the brand new feature that Plarium has put into the game. I'm talking about this shiny new portal. Look at it. Look, it looks so cool. Actually, I love the look of this. Um, and this is what I'm talking about. This is called the Prism Shard. It's basically it looks like a combination of all the colors, I guess. Purple, blue, yellow. Looks really cool. Love the look of it. But basically the idea with this new feature is that Plarium offers these special Prism Shards that give you focused a focused pull pool. It has different rates than the regular Void, Ancient, and Sacred Shard. And the pool is much different, the champion pool. So this is the pool that is in effect right now. So the Nyresan summon pool. Basically the Sylvan Watchers, the Dwarves, and then the Shadowkin. If you guys are curious where you find out what Nyresan means, because I remember when I was looking for it, is actually not intuitive, it's right here. So you have all the different factions here. They don't really talk about it too much, but here it is, Nyresan Union. So there's missing one, but you got these three factions in this current pool. And the big thing that is noticeable is that you're missing Harma, which is one of the key champions, and you're missing like Void champions. Obviously, Void champions they don't show up anywhere here. So it looks like Plarium is cherry picking some key champions or lesser value champions. That's not to say that these are bad champions. These are actually very good champions. But they've noticeably left out key champion like Harima, which is a super meta arena champion right now. And the next thing you would notice is a lot of these legendaries were past guarantees or past fusions. For example, Lady Kimi was a past 150 Ancient Shard guarantee. Elva was a 20 Sacred Shard guarantee. Mishinaki was part of the Summon event guarantee. Herndeg was a fusion. Brogni was a fusion. Kaioku was a champion reward, and so forth. So some of these champions, obviously, we've seen. Maybe you have one or two of them. Maybe you have all of them, and this pool is of no use to you. But I would want to emphasize that even though this shard only can target these champions, the odds are only 3% to pull legendary, which is 6 times better than a regular Ancient Shard, which is only 0.5%. You have a very high chance of pulling an epic, and then of course you can still get a rare. So unlike Sacred Shards, you still can get rares, but the epic portion here I think gives this the most value. So if you need any of these epics in this pool, I think these shards get the most value. So you're more than likely probably gonna get something usable. So you got 40% to get a legendary or an epic, which I think is reasonable. Like, it's reasonable value as opposed to like when you're just pulling ancients and you're expecting rares. So here, I mean, some of the epics are just insanely good. Geomancer is basically a legendary. This guy, Creodin, he's basically gonna be used in Fire Knight most of the time. Triple hit, chance to freeze. It's going to be used with like ally attackers in the hard Fire Knight dungeon. You have Cornelia, can do some fun stuff against Bommel. Taragi is one of the best ally attack champions in the game. Ally protection champions in the game. So for a clan boss, very good. Ruella is very good, multi-hitter, good damage dealer. And then you have Ornn, the Mushroom Man, excellent champion, can solo a lot of content as well. So it really depends on where you are in the game. Like, that's just to name a few, name some of the better ones. All of these epics actually have some use. So depending where you are in the game, this single shard actually has quite a bit of value. And you actually have a decent chance of pulling one of these epics, which is going to be quite decent. With that said, the way that they are selling this as 20 fragments, these prism crystals, basically prism fragments to build one of these prism shards, is an interesting way to build, to sell these crystals, to build into shards. They could have just sold them as shards individually, but I feel that they want to break up the individual shards so they can offer them in different events, so that people will be left with partial shards, if that makes sense. So they'll be left with partial shards, which kind of creates some kind of like psychological, like mental confusion for sure. It's just an extra currency to remember, whereas here it's just like one shard. One shard, you know exactly what you're getting. But here you get like 30 crystals. It's like, but that's only equal to one shard, 1.5 shards. So there's a little bit of extra mental math that is required in this, and I think it's done deliberately. And I think it's also going to be done where you're going to pick up bits of individual shards in events. So they might offer you 5 pieces here, 5 pieces there, 5 pieces here. So you're going to be left with pieces of a shard, not an actual shard. So it's a little bit annoying, and the big thing here is that you can't hoard these crystals. So if you have if you have basically over 20 shards, the game will pull all the shards out when this summon event ends, so in the next week. It's interesting. It's supposed to stop you from hoarding. So it basically stops you from hoarding crystals for a favorable pool, and then you can pull. So it's going to stop that. But if you're holding on to like 15 crystals, for example, the fine print is that 15 will carry over onto the next event. So you can only really carry over maximum 3/4 of one crystal onto the next summon pool event. So that's Plarium's way of answering like hoarders, basically. So I'm hoarding shards. Basically, shards have no time limit. You just hold on to them. But with this new system, they have a time limit. You can pick within the next week the best time for you to pull these, and these have been confirmed by Plarium that they will count as points towards champion chase, CVC tournaments, and clan quests like 10 rare champions, 5 epic champions, and so forth. So they did confirm that. So that's like, basically it functions the same as a normal shard, for example. So nothing new there. All right, so let's talk quickly about the chances of each champion. So the legendary, the epic, basically the ones that you're looking at here. So there's 9 legendary champions, and you have a chance to pull one of them if you pull a legendary. So if you pull a legendary, you actually are looking at a very strong chance of pulling one of the champions from the pool, obviously. So I'm going to pull up my notes here. So basically, there's a total pool of 155 non-void legendaries. We noticed there's no void legendaries in this summon pool. And if you were to pull one random champ from this entire pool, you're looking at 0.65%. But if you pull one champion from this pool, you're going to have 11.11%, since there's only 9 in this total pool. So regular 10x events, if you pull legendary during a 10x event, you have roughly a 6% chance to pull your desired 10x champion. Here, it's going to be the same, 11% roughly. So here, and here's a 20x, for example. So here, it's effectively a 20x on these champions. So if you wanted, let's say, like a Trunda, you effectively have a 20x event on Trunda. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So this is kind of like their answer to giving like a 20x on like just general pull events. With that said, here are the similar rates for the epics. So for epics, there's 210 epics in the pool right now, non-void, and there's only 15 in this pool. What does that mean? You have about a 0.5% chance of pulling your desired epic from a regular event. And in this pool, you have 6.7% chance roughly to pull your desired epic. Not great, not high, but much higher than what it is during a normal event. If there was a 10x event, let's say I wanted Geomancer. I really want Geomancer, actually, because I actually don't have Geomancer on my alt account. So if I wanted Geomancer, I would have roughly a 6.7% chance of pulling Geomancer, which is roughly the equivalent of having like a 15x on Geomancer, which is better than any kind of event that Plarium has ever offered to date. So if you're one of those people that wanted some of these champions, this is a pretty high chance of getting them. assuming that you can pull them. And let's quickly look at the only event available right now for us to analyze further what these crystals are actually worth. So right now we have a turn-based spider tournament happening. It's 6,500 points for 20 crystals, which is equivalent to 1 pull. So if you think about this, if they had a top prize of 5 ancients at the top, would you go for that in this event? I think this event, it's very favorable to the timing of it, because obviously CVC is ongoing. Nut is just finishing, and Nut's going to produce some very good teams for a lot of people, not just endgame players, but everyone's spider team should improve with the addition of Nut in their team. So is this top reward worth 5 ancients? I would say it is probably worth 5 ancients. Unless you're just looking for pure like shard value, like from a champ chase, for example, then it might yield maybe less, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say. You guys can be the judge of that. I personally think it's probably worth it, and I'm definitely going to go and get this 6,500 for sure for this shard, this crystals, and yeah, and make sure you guys will pull the shards during CVC or champ chase if you guys need the points for champ chases, for example. I'm not sure how it's going to work for summon events. I believe they did not say anything about summon events. They said champ chase, so they did not put any info about a summon event. So they don't work exactly like shards, so keep in mind that's a bit of a trap there. So if you guys were thinking that this shard is worth something in a summon event, make sure you guys double check if they add that in the future. I think that's something that they might have missed on purpose. I don't know. But yeah, that's a little tricky from Plarium for sure. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me and what I think about the Prism. I think generally it's actually okay, unless you're like super endgame, then none of these champions will make any difference to you, because like I said, most of them were guaranteed or fusions of the past. Epics won't matter to you. But if you have an early account, if you can somehow stack up some of these crystals over time, you will stack them up over time, similar to how you stack up regular shards. Except you might not be able to choose which pool you can participate in. However, these summon events are decently long. It seems 1 week is decent, so you might be able to have opportunities to build up at least 1 crystal to pull per week, which I think is probably not bad. Is an extra way to acquire champions. But I just don't like how Plarium will be stuffing these crystals as rewards into events. That takes away actual resources from newer players that they need to complete things in the game, like fusions, which are ridiculously overpriced. We'll have a conversation about that another time. But yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys got something from the video. I mean, are you guys pulling it now? I think you guys should probably save for CVC, but I can understand the curiosity of pulling right now. But if you guys can hold off, save it for CVC or save it for a champ chase if you guys need the points. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this new system, and I'll see you guys in the next video.